My name is Mabi, Ponce de León, and I am an artist in a show at the Martin de Porres Center in Columbus, Ohio. And my show is called Tierra, which means soil, earth, or land. Feeling both foreign and at home in the world, I explore what it feels like to be from two places and belong to neither. I am originally from Argentina, and I moved when I was a young person to the United States. And even though I've been here a lot of my life, I still feel a sense of displacement and foreignness, not being fully from here and having family from another country and being myself a person who went to school for years in another country. And so I work with that idea, the idea of displacement, the idea of translation and mistranslation. And I use a lot of symbols and a lot of old photographs and old maps, basically symbolic of the places where I've come from or where I've been. This one is called My Side of the Mountain and is an oil painting triptych that I did actually over the course of several years, and I finished it last year. It relates to a year that I spent living in northeast Mexico. I was teaching at a university in Monterrey, and I lived on one side of this mountain called Las Mitras, and I worked on the other side, and there was this journey, going back and forth, going to work, going home, around this incredibly large and beautiful mountain. And so the image shows the juxtaposition of this mountain, but also an overlay of the map of the city of Monterrey, of the routes, where things appear and disappear. The map is red, so sometimes you don't see the map, where it blends with the landscape. The Vorticity series is a group of 9 paintings, not very big, acrylic on canvas, and they deal with the idea of flight and moving from place to place around the globe, but also the term vorticity relates to water currents, global water currents. And so I use not only a map of the world, but also a map of the currents of the water around the continents. And, all of these motions relate to the Earth's rotation. And our movement, also we have to keep, when we travel around the Earth. So I find that interesting. Transplanted is a large acrylic on canvas painting. Like all the other paintings, it begins with a collage of objects. Could be maps. It could be travel, airline tickets, tags, images, photographs, all kinds of things. In this one, I began painting it vertically, and it was a map of North and South America. And I started moving it around, and it ended up being a horizontal image. But basically, it's a painting of an airline hub map, where how flights go from place to place to place, silhouetted airplanes, and basically elevation plans of a ship that was used, of the kind of ship that was used at the turn of the 20th century, also for people travel. So the idea of being transplanted, not so much in the way that you would think of farming or potting of plants, but more of people being moved from place to place, from continent to continent. The image Pasajero Verde is more representative of what I do now, these digital collages that I've been working with, which start out in the same way that the paintings start out. They juxtapose maps, photographs. In this case, I have a satellite map of a neighborhood, an old neighborhood in Buenos Aires, where I grew up, and also an old photograph of my grandparents leaving. And my grandparents have passed away. And the idea is it's a reference of not just loved ones leaving who travel far away, but the idea of the loss of people and those of us who are left behind. I was trained as a painter. I've done prints and paintings and drawings most of my life, but in recent years I've been working with digital means, because they really accomplish the same thing that my paintings do, but in a much more versatile way. Working in this way, painting these images, is a way to kind of try to make sense of, why, how we move, why we end up in a certain way, because in a certain place, because it is a little bit random. You can't predict where your life is going to take you. I'm Mabi Ponce de León, and my show is called Tierra, and it is showing at the Martin de Porres Center in Columbus, Ohio. I hope you can come and see the show.